We're going to talk about a shooting incident that occurred just a little after 2:30 this morning in the Elizabethtown Lowe's parking lot located at 100 Lowe's Drive. We responded there in reference to a female who had been shot in the chest. When our officers arrived, they found 21-year-old Brian Harbison performing CPR on the victim. Also present was another female who was later found to be 15 years of age. The victim was transported from the scene by Hardin County EMS to Baptist Health Hardin, where she was pronounced deceased, unfortunately. The investigation has revealed that Harbison has met the two juvenile females via Snapchat, and prior to coming to pick them up, he had purchased alcohol for them, and they were in the parking lot of the Elizabethtown Lowe's hanging out and consuming the alcohol that he had purchased. At the time of the shooting, the investigations revealed that Harbison and the victim were in the backseat of his truck. The suspect, again also a juvenile female, was in the front seat. There is some gray area and some unknowns as to how she came about the firearm. According to Harbison, the firearm was secured in the glove box. However, the suspect and the investigation has revealed that she had found the firearm, a 9mm handgun, on the center console of the truck. According to the suspect, Harbison told her that the gun was not loaded. However, that's unknown what that conversation took place. Obviously, we weren't present for that. What we do know is the suspect picked the firearm up, pointed it at the victim's chest, pulled the trigger, discharging one round and fatally wounding the victim. Obviously, this is terribly tragic. As I said, our most sincere thoughts and prayers go out. A lot of lives are devastated and ruined. I can't imagine from a parent standpoint what it would be like to lose a 15-year-old child, and likewise the family of the suspect. My heart goes out to them as well. It's terribly tragic. The suspect has been charged with murder and is currently in our custody. Harbison has also been arrested. He is charged with wanton endangerment, and he will also be he's lodged in the Hardin County Detention Center.
Is the Lowe's parking lot a common place for people to hang out?
I mean, it's an area certainly frequented. It's right on the north end of Elizabethtown, corner of Ring Road and North Dixie Highway, so it's a heavily trafficked area, and throughout the night there's vehicle traffic in there. Lowe's was obviously closed at the time. But.
So sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have any idea of whether this was a first meeting?
I don't have any information on that.
Will he be charged with other things besides what was just charged?
So, the case will be presented to a Hardin County grand jury. At that time, they'll make a decision whether there will be additional indictments.
Can you speak to the other incident, involving another teenager earlier in the night around a little before 9 o'clock, I think what was said?
Totally unrelated, but shortly after 9 o'clock Saturday night, we received a call on the 1000 block of North Dixie on the report of a vehicle versus pedestrian collision. The pedestrian, who was an adult male, and we're holding that name pending family notification, was killed upon impact. He did die at the scene. The suspect, a juvenile male, did flee the scene initially. He went home, and a sibling brought him back to the scene immediately. He has been charged with leaving the scene of the collision, and that collision remains under investigation by our collision reconstruction team.
Could we possibly see more charges involved in that?
Potentially, with it being a juvenile, there's a certain there's a bit of difference in how that is handled, but there's opportunity for juveniles to be charged as adults and things of that nature. So, but this time, that's all he's charged with.
The wanton endangerment charge that Harbison faces, is that regarding the gun that was in the vehicle, or
yeah,
is that
just it being readily accessible around two juveniles who he knew to be intoxicated.
Okay, so he's
I failed to mention he was also charged with unlawful transaction in the 3rd degree.
Okay.
As far as the suspect goes, do you know why it was that she turned it down and pulled the trigger? Did she think that it wasn't going to discharge, or was there some angry exchange that went on between them?
I really don't know, and I'm not going to speculate. Again, we do know by fact and by her admission that she pointed the firearm at the victim and intentionally pulled the trigger, fatally wounding her.
So, sorry. The victim that was transported to the hospital and was pronounced deceased, that was the only victim in this incident, is that correct? Or are there two female victims?
There were two juvenile females present, both of which were 15.
Okay.
The victim, who is deceased, was the only injured person in the shooting.
Thank you.
Do we have any idea of what the relationship between the victim and suspect is?
They were known associates. They were familiar with one another.
A follow-up. I know some towns, cities, municipalities have curfews for people who are juveniles, underage kids. Is there any curfew at all for?
I don't want to get into that because when you do, you start pointing fingers at family members, and this is not something that the family certainly intended to happen. In fact, the family of the deceased, when notification was made, they thought that their child was asleep in bed, and they were being told that her life was taken. So I'm not going to get into that.
I don't come to Elizabethtown very often, but I don't necessarily see a lot of instances like this, at least even 2 deaths in one night, both involving teenagers. Can you speak to that?
Certainly not a normal night. Homicides here are very, very low in Hardin County. Fortunately, I think we do a great job at maintaining a partnership and open dialogue with the citizens of this community, and I really attribute the relationship that we have to the success of this community and the safety of this community. So it's certainly not a common occurrence here. So it's terribly tragic. Anytime loss of life exists, it's terribly tragic, it's terribly sad. But when you have a 15-year-old, it's beyond heartbreaking. There's really no words.
Do we know whether well, let me ask, was the gun registered to the adult male?
There's no firearms registry, and I don't know. It was in his vehicle.
Okay. Do we have any message to the community or to parents, other adults who are interacting with juveniles following this, or anything that you'd like to communicate to the community that you serve?
As a responsible firearm owner, you're responsible for any firearm you own at all times, and it's your responsibility to keep it secured and in a safe place. Failure to do that is negligent and it's criminal. I'm not going to armchair quarterback the parental decisions of the victim or the suspect. Again, they're 15 years old. I was 15 years old once. I have a 19-year-old. I'm aware of you can't keep a thumb on them all the time. My heart just goes out to them for their tragic loss.
Do you have any messages for the community, especially young people, regarding the use of social media, seeing now a situation like this that ended up to be fatal?
Meeting up with someone who you don't know that you just met via social media is extremely, extremely dangerous. It's not a good idea, not just for juveniles, and that's across the board for adults as well. You don't know who is on the other end of the phone or the communication device that you're communicating with them on. It's not a good and a safe place, especially in the middle of the night in a parking lot of a closed business.
You mentioned that the victim's family actually thought that she was home, asleep in bed. What was that like? I guess I'm assuming that you talked to both parents. Are there any comments that stuck out to you from this or anything that?
I haven't spoke to them. I wasn't part of the notification. That's the Hardin County Coroner's Office and our investigators who handled the death notification. So I don't want to speculate as to what comments were made, but again, instantly they were woken up and their lives were shattered. I give my most sincere heart and prayers go out to them.
And if I might ask a little bit more candidly, hearing of the situation and seeing this all play out in front of your eyes as the parent of a teenager, 19-year-old teenager, how did this strike you?
I think it strikes me like it does any other human. It's despicable. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. And there's no words to justify it or really even put it into accurate perspective. I can't imagine what they're going through.
When is the grand jury gonna convene? When is everything gonna start? Is it gonna be tomorrow morning and we're not sure yet?
No, that'll be a conversation between our investigative team and the Commonwealth Attorney's Office.
Do we know at this time whether the prosecution is looking to charge the juvenile as an adult? Or
Again, that'll be determined in the days to come. At this time, I don't have that information.
Rock kind of grand jury, no date set yet.
can you just further clarify when the grand jury will be set?
That'll be up to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office.
For the juvenile, this being a murder charge, is that going to be a standard procedure because a firearm was pointed and the trigger was pulled? Is it possible that would be brought down to manslaughter if she, for example, didn't know that it was loaded?
I'm not going to speculate on the disposition of the charges. That's something that the prosecutor's office, in collection with the investigators, will determine.
What happens next in the coming days?
There'll be, conversation between our investigators. They'll continue their investigation. I'm not sure exactly where they are. Obviously, more information will continue to come in. I'm sure there'll be more interviews conducted, et cetera. But at this time, this is all the information I have.
And I may have missed it. So is there a court date or so that's already said?
I don't